Brian, what was it, a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
And, basically you put up with my screening you and interviewing you. And I said, you're like a perfect fit, for what I was looking for, which was a person with your qualifications, with your people skills, with your bedside manner, as I put it. You're very, like a warm, genuine person. You also have children. You're a married guy, you have children. Been doing this for well over 20 years, coaching people.
Yep.
And and that's all I'm going to say. I had a really good feeling about you when I first met you, that 45 or 60 minute interview, and I went to Saskia and I said, wow, I got some good news. I just met this fella and he's willing to work with us and help our clients that want to learn from Coach Brian. And here we are.
Here we are.
Thank you again, Coach Brian.
You're
and
so
for
welcome.
everyone to be here.
So welcome.
With us tonight.
Happy to help.
It's great.
At the end of the day, it's about helping people live a healthier, more fulfilling life. And food and activity and self-care, positivity, those are some really good foundations that set the stage for a really productive and high-quality lifestyle. So we need to take care of ourselves first and foremost to be able to then take care of everything else that's around us. So this is an easy yes for me to be able to step into and offer some help, guidance, and at the end of the day, help people. So.
Great. Thank you. And also, by the way, for you guys that are here to learn from Coach Brian, I'm here to do the same thing, by the way. I'm here to learn too. And just want to encourage you to ask him questions. He said before he got started, before you entered the Zoom meeting realm here, that he's fine with you guys asking questions. Like when you have questions, just go ahead and ask him questions.
Yep. Interrupt me, please.
All right, take it away.
All right, excellent. So I'll do a quick intro. So I'm 41, almost 42. I'm a father of 4. I married my high school sweetheart. She's actually flying to Venice, Italy for her own business and work. She's a travel advisor, and we just live life in the fast lane in a sense. We're always on the go, and that brings a high level of experience in a unique perspective on how I interact and engage with people. I've been in the health and nutrition and fitness industry since I got a job at the YMCA helping to get a free membership as the maintenance staff. So I'd clean and pull towels and all that back in high school, like senior year. But I also got a membership to the gym, and it started there. And then they're like, hey, you need to teach some of exercise classes. So phenomenal abdominal Mondays at 5 to 5:30 is where it started, and it just continued. I ended up getting an exercise nutrition degree in 2004. I was a personal trainer for many years. I've owned gyms for about 5 years or so. Then I've been doing remote nutrition and health coaching with people all over the U.S. primarily, but even in the world. I've had the luck and fortune to ran into a 2-time Olympian, Sofia Renioso. We worked together at Tokyo and in Paris just this past summer. So it's a really unique situation. I've worked with people young, old, healthy, sick, chronically ill, people who know a lot about this and not. I would say the majority of the people, about 60%, are coming to me for weight loss type activities, but then there's another whole other segment of digestion or chronic illness or even performance gains. This weekend I had a gentleman, Eric, out in Salt Lake City perform a 24-hour mountain bike race, and he placed 9th. So he was top 10, which was some of our initial goals to thrive. So I help a lot of people, and I love it. It's wonderful. So as as Anthony said, is let's go through this. An interactive experience is going to work best for everyone, me included. So I want you to be paying attention and engaged. My goal is to give you the basics of what nutrition are today. Talk a little bit about some exercise, lifestyle, stress management, time management, things that come up. I'm going to give a lot of anecdotal evidence and experiences and different things that of situations I've had, because I've had like thousands of them in the last 20 years or so doing this. So let's take it away and jump in. I'm going to share my screen. I strategically have like everything set up here so that I can look at you in the camera and not have to like look away to do the presentation. So let's share this and we'll get to it. All right. I've been doing, let's make sure we're sharing this. All right, there we go. Oop. There we go. All right. It's live and well. So I'm recording myself as an audio, and so the comments and stuff are highly encouraged and welcome. Now, this is a follow-along approach workshop for you to hang out with me here the next, 45, 60 or longer. I like to talk a lot, so I'll try to keep it fun, interactive, engaging. But definitely pay attention, take notes. This is some of the very first things I go through with every single person I ever coach as an actual client. So you're getting like the meat and potatoes, so to speak. I'm holding nothing back. All right, so let's get to it. Now, what I say and phrase it is playing the game. Whenever someone gets into this with me, it's going to take a couple weeks to figure this out. It's not just like, I'm going to follow this meal plan or I'm going to start walking or whatnot. Weight management, health management is simple, but it's not easy. And everybody's everyday life is what makes it challenging for them to be able to overcome and manage what the simplicity of this is. Now, for me, I'm 41. I've been doing this specifically trying to take care of myself for the last 20 plus years. It even started in high school cross country. So let's rewind to age 15 or something where I was actively like really pursuing bettering myself. So I have systems, I have processes. The way that I think about food or activity or lifestyle or choices or being positive or any of these things happen on a normal everyday basis. I really don't have to put a lot of energy into it. It just is. Now, for a lot of people that come to me, they say someone's 30 pounds overweight. They have had choices that they've made that have gotten them into the situation where they are at. And my job is to help unwind them from that situation. And sometimes it takes longer than others, and other times it doesn't take that long at all. But the point being is every single day we're making forward movement. So you always have to give yourself some grace and time and patience and work through this whole process. So we take it one step at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, they say. Every opportunity that you have is an opportunity to grow and learn and develop and change what the future holds for you. And always, 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 wear a smile on your face. Look for the positive things that are happening around you, to you, and set the stage every single day so that life reflects a positive experience back to you, because you get what you look for. And if you're looking for positive things, you will get that. Now, when it comes to like taking care of yourself and even more like importantly, like say figuring out nutrition, I always tell people, especially on that very first phone call, even I did with Anthony, it's like we're only paying attention to three simple things. We're paying attention to movement, we're paying attention to food choice, and we're paying attention to portion control. That's the simplicity of what the game we are playing here is taking better care of yourself and making sure that you are the healthiest you can be. I promise your 70-year-old self will thank you once you get there. Now, as far as like managing your body weight and the way your body looks and most importantly feels, this is the simple, intuitive formula I always reference back to. I move this much, I eat this much, and this is what my body does. This is really important to know and understand. This is an intuitive formula. Everybody's life is different. Everyone's day-to-day is different. Everyone's food choices are different. Everyone's ability or activity levels can be very different. So when we come to this, we can't just run you through an online calorie calculator to find out what your needs are. Because one day it might be correct and another day it might not. And it's not to say that should discourage you or anything. It's just like, oh, geez, like this, it always depends. Well, like most things in life, they always depend. But the more that you pay attention, the less that it depends on the situation, because then you can just act. For example, in Ohio where I'm at, it is getting colder out. Today's a nice day. It was like 70 and sun shining and blue skies. But tomorrow in Ohio might be like 30. And I might not want to move as much. So intuitively, when I think about this, I moved a lot today. I can eat more food. But tomorrow I move less. I probably should eat less calories, less starchy carbohydrates, less fattier foods, whether that's a healthy fat or not. It doesn't matter. I'm managing my calories better just intuitively so that I stay in the same place with my body. That means that I don't wake up 3 pounds heavier tomorrow because I couldn't control my food behaviors today because whatever happened in the day, it was stressful or someone wanted to go out to eat or any of that stuff. That's the daily life thing that happens, and we want to enjoy those moments. But we don't need it to impact our day-to-day. And think about this. Even if you just aren't paying attention by this subtle bit, if you gain a 1/4 pound a week, that's 1 pound per month, 12 pounds in a year, 24 pounds in 2 years. You're overweight now. You're working your way toward obese, and you gained a 1/4 pound a week. So you really do need to pay attention and have some sort of a system, a process that you can go through. And this is just a really easy first point of it. Now on the screen, I say power of choice. So I always tell people, encourage them, hey, you are in charge of your life. You're in charge of the things that you do every day. You're in charge of the people you surround yourself with. You're in charge of the experiences you have. You are in charge of the activity you do and the food you put in your mouth. Whether it's high calorie or low calorie, super healthy or not, you're making that choice. If you choose to make your own food, you're going to be way more in control. If you let McDonald's or Chipotle or Olive Garden or Grandma or my spouse make the food, then you're giving them the power to make the food and however it is. Now, the importance of this relevance is in the fact of, say, calories and calorie consumption. And that's something that we're going to break down today. But just know that you're in control. Just because it's Halloween doesn't mean you need to have 3 king-size candy bars to have a good time and experience. You can have a couple, 3 miniatures, truly enjoy that experience and have some candy, but not take home an extra 1,000 calories of candy that are going to sit on your waistline. So, today's agenda and what we're going to go through: calories, timing of food, portion control, and meal design. We'll certainly go over any other relevant information along the way and after as well. So when we go to calories, how much should you eat? This is the number one thing. Let's go over the basics first. A calorie is broken down into, food. Food is broken down into calories, protein, carbs, and fats. That's the simplicity of what food is and how it works. So fat has 9 calories in it, and carbs and protein have 4. What this means is that you need to pay attention to higher fat calorie foods in a sense, because fats has over twice as many calories in it than protein and carbs. So if you add oil to a pan, you're adding a tablespoon is 120 calories with 14 grams of fat, because 14 times 9 equals 120. And so that's the math of it. Okay. 25 carbohydrates times 4 is 100 calories. So if I have a 100 calorie apple, it's likely that it has about 25 carbs in it. Now you don't have to know this, say like perfectly or anything, but this is the basic of even looking at a nutrition label that allows you to be able to start to navigate what the heck you're eating, what's in the food you're eating. Is this food product even good for me to buy, or should I be buying the non-branded value one that's next to it that's $1 cheaper and has a white label on it, and it doesn't talk to you at the supermarket like buy me, right? That's basically what's coming in our supermarkets coming now. Is like there's gonna be like advertisements jumping out, like we'll see Tony the Tiger in 3D jumping out of you like they're great. Here, take some Frosted Flakes home. But when we look at those, they're just simple carbohydrates that have sugar on them. And when you can discern it from that perspective, then you have a lot more control over your food and your body. Now this next slide, it gives calorie ranges. These are definitely what I see on a day-to-day basis. So I'll kind of throw this out here. Women, a fat loss range, generally from 1,200 to 1,500 calories, depending on your body size, your daily activity, your physical exercise fitness history in the past, say, 10 years. If you've been physically active for 10 years, you are more metabolically active and can have more calories than someone who's been working a desk job, goes home and sits on the couch and Netflix and chills all night too. They're not going to have a lot of muscle mass, and it's unlikely that their metabolism is robust in a sense. So for women, about 1,200 to 1,500, men about 15 to 1,800 calories for a fat loss phase. And I say it that way. I'm not really interested in losing weight. I'm interested in my clients losing fat. We need them to lose fat so that they maintain the muscle mass and maintain the tone, the look, the feel of the body so that they have a strong functional body once we get through the fat loss phase and can get into a normal maintenance calorie arrangement. For that, generally 1,500 to 2,200 calories for women, 1,800 to 3,300 calories for men. These are just averages, again, depending on the size and the daily activity. For someone who's super busy and active, then I would definitely have them a bit more and quieted there. Let's mute let's mute that person there, pretty please. So whoever's got we got this mute. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So let's get back to this. So we have maintenance 15 to 2,200 or 1,800 to 3,300, depending on your activity. If you're gaining weight, could be for women, 1,800 calories or more. If you've been on a really kind of yo-yo diet and a fat loss diet and something that's been pretty aggressive in calorie restriction, that number might even be lower, unfortunately. And that's a problem because you're like, oh, I'm eating 1,500 calories and I'm gaining weight. I look at food and I gain weight. That possibly because you've inadvertently lost a lot of muscle mass in a very restrictive calorie, limited, lack of protein approach. And that doesn't serve you for long-term success. So you lose 30 pounds and then you gain it back. All the weight loss drugs now, they are generally getting people to slow down digestion and slow down hunger, and they just don't eat a lot of calories, and therefore then they end up losing weight. But there could be a higher percentage of that weight loss being muscle mass, and you're actually doing yourself a long-term disservice to yourself because you get the 30, 50 pounds or more off of you, but you have less muscle mass than ever, and then you're going to gain the weight back as soon as you get back off of the drug because you haven't changed behavior patterns. There's no education. There's no process or system to go about it. You just didn't eat for a couple weeks or months. For guys, it could be 2,000 or more. So those are just some ranges there to help. Now, if we were to do macros, we're not going to spend a lot of time. These are general ranges. If you were to track calories and macronutrients through an app, they have tons and tons of free ones online. I have recently shifted to Chronometer, as my go-to free app that I have my clients track with, the ones that want to track. Now, not everyone that I work with tracks food and calories. There's a lot of others that don't. But these are general ranges and protein. So like for women, I'm always encouraging at least 100 grams of protein. Guys, we get about 140, 150 to or more. And again, this is all dependent on total calories. If someone's eating more calories, these ranges would change. Okay. Now, let me kind of back up real quick. One of the most important things, and kind of be redundant here, but always eat as many calories as you can to lose weight, to maintain your weight. That's really good, because if you can have a high calorie intake and not change your body weight, then that your body is can handle a lot more calories. And again, it's long-term beneficial that you don't just keep eating less per se, because then your metabolism is adaptive and it will slow down on you.
So, I have a quick question.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. What does macro mean?
Macros, excellent. So food is calories, protein, carbs, and fats. So macros are macronutrients. Macronutrients are protein, carbs, and fats. So when you hear that buzzword macros, what are your macros? That's what they're referring to, is macronutrients. What are your macros? What are your protein, your carb, your fat levels that you're tracking or targeting in the day to hit from the food that you're eating? Okay. So like Anthony, hey, I want to maintain my body weight, and just knowing just this much of Anthony, maybe he needs to start around 2,000 calories. He needs to have 150 grams of protein. He needs 70 grams of fat. And depending on how busy he is, he could probably fall between that 150 to 200 carbohydrates, probably 200. That could be a reasonable, off the top of my head approach that would give him around 2,000-ish calories to target. Now, Anthony might have no clue what I just said or mean or what is in the food you're eating, but if I say tracking or paying attention to what you're doing, then you start to learn what is in the food that you're eating, and then you're making way more informed choices, decisions around how you put food together and pair it. And we're going to go over meal design today as well, so you have a better idea of how to structure what food should look like. So does that help, Anthony?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And most of the time when I start with clients, most people don't know what macros are. So this is just a big learning lesson. This is like, okay, let's take the person from where they're at, and then I help bridge the gap from where they're at to where they want to go, and I help make it as easy and stable of a bridge in a sense so that they can move through that process of learning as they change and transform their body, because they're making more educated decisions about their lifestyle, their choices that they make. So speaking of timing of food, when should I eat? Basic question. Now, in this image here, we have number one is eat when in the day does it make the most sense for you to eat your food? Okay, super relevant. I'm not a big fan of like intermittent fasting or whatever you want to say it. I want the majority of the people I ever work with to eat when it makes sense in their day. So if someone's like, oh, I have to fast and I can't eat till noon, but then when they get to noon, they work over their lunch period and they don't actually stop. Well, so when are you going to eat? Are you eating at like 2 or 3 or now 4 when you get off work or something? Like you just went all day and you're like famished, and now you're going to make, in most human situations, a very bad choice when people when people go long periods of time without food. They are way more likely to make bad decisions, myself included. Okay, so when in the day does it make sense? We'll go over this here in a moment. So secondly is eat enough food to get you to the next time you're going to eat again. Simple, logical, easy to remember. Number 2, write that down. Eat enough food to get you to the next time you'll eat again. So if I know that I have a break at this time of the day and then that time of the day, I can eat an appropriate amount at each of those times so that I stay full enough. And then I am planned ahead of time to have something at another time. So it really comes down to just being more prepared and better planned out in this process and not just winging it and be like, well, I don't know what I'm going to eat. I don't even know what I'm going to eat. And oftentimes when people go about it that way, then they're just going to eat whatever the wind blew their direction or whatever someone else wanted for lunch that day. They're like, well, they're going to go DoorDash Wendy's. I guess that's what I'm having for lunch today. That I don't know if it's the best way to go about taking care of yourself, letting other people decide for you, right? It's just not usually a good idea. So what most people are going to eat 3 to 4 times a day. It's that simple and most repetitive. So people are like, don't I have to eat like 8 times a day to boost my metabolism or something? Like, no. I actually tell people to not eat that many times a day. Why? Because it challenges their ability to manage their calories better. Just imagine that you had 30 extra calories at each of those meals. So let's break down what 30 calories is. That's like you licking peanut butter. Not even like aggressively. You just kind of like lick it. That's you eating a quarter of an apple. That's you eating half of a fun-sized candy bar. That's you eating 3 almonds, 4 almonds, something like that. That's you eating a little bit more, like a cup of broccoli. That's noticeable. But it could be just a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that. That's a quarter of about half of a normal slice of bread. So it's very minimal and it could be easily lost. So 6 times 30 is 180. That's like 200 calories. That's enough to get you to be from, say, if you're trying to lose weight, in a weight loss category to get you into a weight maintenance category. And you just had just a little bit off here and there. And therefore, you're like, why am I not losing weight? I'm tracking my food. I'm eating healthy. I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to. You're still eating too much. You just don't realize it. So we don't always, I never really encourage like 6 times a day unless someone's super duper active. So eat 3 to 4 times a day makes the most sense. For women, in terms of like a fat loss phase, could be 300, 400 calories, maybe more, 500 calories. Again, depending on how many times they eat. So 3 times 500 is 1,500 calories. 4 times 500 is 2,000. So you get the gist. For men, about 400 to 500 calories. So like basically what I'm saying, like in your brain, we're having somewhere around 300, possibly 500 calories for women and 400 to possibly 600 calories for men on an average meal. Works wonderfully. So I want you to write this down and we'll have someone be an example here. So typically, I personally eat around 10 to 11, 3, 6, like 9 to 10 p.m. Sometimes I even eat right before I go to bed. And yes, I know that's like so faux pas and the wrong thing to do, but I've been doing it for 2 decades or longer. I eat right before I go to bed a lot. And it's not because I don't have any weight issues either, because I'm not eating too many calories across the entire day. But what happens when it gets dark outside is that most people overeat and overconsume on top of their day. So now they're gaining weight. So when they wake up the next day, they're like another potential quarter pound heavier than they were than the day prior. And they slowly gain weight, especially with our current time and season, which is the holidays, right? We're past Halloween now, and we're going to go into the Thanksgiving and Christmas season. And it's very easy to have a little bit too much holiday cheer. And that'll end up on our waistline as most people gain 5 to 8 pounds in this time of year. So most clients, as you can tell, eat around like 7:30 to 9, 12, 3 to 4, 6 to 7:30. Those are average times that most people would eat. So let's jump on and let's go, like, when in a day, let's play this out. When in a day do you eat? Or does it make sense for you to eat? Who's up? Someone.
Sure, I'll volunteer.
All right. Who do we got here? Who's talking?
Stephanie.
Yeah, also, excuse me, Neil, you were talking, but we couldn't hear you because your video's off. I mean, the audio. You're talking, but we can't hear you, Neil.
Must be muted, Neil.
Sorry, Stephanie, for interrupting you.
It's all right.
I just saw him. He was trying to talk, and I want to let him know.
Now?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
Neil,
can
you
hear
want to
you.
go first?
Thank you.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. All right.
A gentleman.
It's not dead.
Yes. No, it's not. Not with you anyway. So I normally eat around, say, 9:30 in the morning. I'm not big at eating when I first wake up.
That's fine.
And then I eat around 12 or 1.
Okay.
And then I eat dinner again between, say, 5 and 6.
Okay. Now, do you do anything after dinner, or are you done eating at dinner?
Sometimes, but not always.
All right.
Yeah.
So it depends on the day,
Yes.
or what. Hopefully not what happened in the day makes it depend.
Right. I guess it probably depends on how much I ate throughout the day.
Right.
If I'm full, like you said, I'm one of those that does not do a very good job planning, and then will just eat whatever's in front of me. So
Right.
that I definitely saw a lot of me in some of the situations you were
Right.
describing.
Right. Plan, prepare, act. Hopefully,
Yeah.
through just what we're talking about, you'll have a lot more planning. And here's the thing. When Brian shows up, people stop just doing nonsense. They just pause and start thinking through, what am I doing here? What do I even want for dinner tonight? Not just whatever marketing best caught my attention, right? And is it McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King or Subway or Pizza Hut or blah, blah. Do you even want any of those food in the first place? Now, we could all agree, anecdotally, they taste good, but when you step back and you get out of that arena, they don't really taste good. They've been genetically engineered and with food science to taste the way they do. McDonald's spends billions of dollars over the last however many decades to create the perfect McDonald's French fry so that you want to go through and hit those golden arches for that large 700, 800 calorie fry. But you're not done. You still got to have the Coke or whatever, and then you still got to have the sandwich too. And you leave there with 1,500 calories because they had a sign on every corner because McDonald's serves convenience. They aren't really serving food in a sense, if you get what I mean. So now a lot of people be like, I don't like to eat when I get up. Well, me neither. I'm getting up at 6:30 in the morning. I got to get up. I got to get my 2 boys up. My second one takes too long of a shower. I'm like, dude, what are you doing in there? The shower's 5 minutes, not 15. We got a hot tub if you're trying to warm your body up. What are we doing? But then I get on to I got to take my oldest to school. Then I come back and I take my 3 younger to middle school. And then I get back. And then next thing you know, it's 8 a.m. And then my wife wants to engage and we go walk and we walk our dog. And then it's 9 o'clock. And then I have phone calls and another phone call and another. And so I'm busy. I'm not sitting down to have breakfast. It doesn't make sense for me to do it. But because I ate at 10, 11 o'clock the night before, I really don't even need food until 11 or the midday anyways. Because of the timing of my food. So it doesn't make any sense for me to eat right when I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I just got done eating 7 hours ago. I'm a big fan of waiting at least 12 hours between that last meal a day to the first meal a day. That makes logical sense. And here's why. Let's go back to the 1950s. Right? Don't eat after dinner. Well, dinner's at 6 o'clock. And if you wake up at 6 a.m. and you have breakfast, you just went 12 hours because breakfast is the most important time of the day. So you get that? Does that make sense? Okay. Now let's label food and stuff. Actually, let's not. But McDonald's says that breakfast is before 10:30 in the morning, right? But if we just break it down literally, the word breakfast is breaking the fast. What that means is just the first time that you eat in a day. So literally, if you want to be like my middle schoolers, they'll literally tell you that their first meal is breakfast. regardless of whatever time it is, because you're breaking the fast, okay? So it doesn't matter if you like to eat early or a little bit later. What's convenient for you? Let's not eat at 9 a.m. when you're getting ready to sit down to take 3 meetings in a row. You have like this important deadline to manage. You got this thing here to do, and you got something else. And you just got done driving an hour through traffic. It makes no sense to try and put food at 9 o'clock because you're not going to do it, right? Or it's going to be, I got to grab something quick and easy, right? That still, a gourmet meal could be quick and easy if it's prepared ahead of time and has a little bit of thought to it. And you can actually enjoy it rather than just scarfing it down on your way in and trying to throw away the wrapper that it came in. Okay? Is that helpful?
I have okay, so
yes.
So Brian, I'm thinking what I'm thinking is that each person and it has to figure out like when it makes the most sense for
yes
it may not be the way you do it or the way I do it or Stephanie or Neil or Willie. It's that individual is eating according to what the activity level that they need calories for.
Right. So yeah, that's the most important thing. Like, so to maintain your weight, your calorie input and calorie output should be generally equal, right? Your metabolism is like a moving target. So you could eat a little bit more and still weigh the same the next day. You could eat a little less, still weigh the same. But there's like a little bit of buffer room there. But we can't grossly overeat and expect the weight to stay the same, right? It'll likely start to go up. So that's the very first layer of the onion. This is the second layer. Okay, I need 2,000 calories. I'm going to eat 4 meals in my day. Most people are going to eat 3 or 4, just like she said. She eats 3 times, but sometimes she eats 4. If she's going to eat 4 meals, we need to plan for the 4th meal to fit into the context of the calories of the day. If she doesn't, it's going to be in addition to, because she's not paying attention and she's distracted by TV or TikTok or someone else or whatever. And therefore she will then eat an extra 300, 400, 500 calories or more because it was a stressful day, because she's tired, because she's trying to rely on willpower or motivation at a time that it doesn't even make sense to. Because she's like in a weakened state. Or he, doesn't matter, anyone, me, right? I had a busy day, super busy, jam-packed, one call after another, and I worked out, and I did this, and then I had my kids, and I had to go here and there, and next thing you know, it's like 11 o'clock, I'm exhausted. I might make a bad decision there because I'm exhausted. I'm not thinking. But if I had a plan ahead of time, then I could just execute on what I already decided was a good choice for me because I chose before I got into this situation. But then also, if this is your day to day and you're always running around with your head cut off, in a sense, then you need to like take a breath and step back and like analyze like what you're doing, why you're doing, how you're doing, so that you're not showing up at the end of the day shooting yourself in the foot. Because that's never going to help you. You're never going to get ahead because your foot always hurts every single day because you shot it yourself in the foot and it hurts. And then you make bad choices or you can't move or whatever. Go ahead, Anthony.
What's the best way to plan?
You look at your schedule.
Look at the schedule.
You just look at what your day-to-day schedule, and it might vary. One day you might have an open morning, and you can be a lot more leisurely about when I eat. Oh, I could eat at 9:38 in the morning today because there's not much going on. Another day, you're like racing around and this and that, and you're like voting's tomorrow. You get up and you got to go wait in line and this and that, and then you're pushed back because voting took longer. Now you get to work and you're late and you got to this. You should have eaten before you left the house and anticipated that there might be people wanting to vote and there might be a line, and that like you should have said, hey, I'm going to vote before work. I need to get up earlier to be more planned and prepared for this day, and I should have went to bed earlier so that I would have got plenty of rest and not been tired, and even more likely to not make good choices, because humans don't make good choices when they're tired. So you see the day of like how it could depend on when they eat. So one day, like tomorrow, they get up and they're going to go vote because it's voting day. They should have eaten at 7 a.m. because they're not going to be able to eat again until noon. Whereas the day after voting, there's nothing to do in the morning. There's nothing on the calendar. And 9:38 in the morning makes a lot of sense to have their first meal. But they're still eating a certain amount of calories, like those calorie ranges that I said. And it's not 800 calories this day or like 200 calories the next day or 1,000 or 1,200 calories the next day, because there's lack of planning or lack of choice. Because you roll in the drive-thru and they have a 2 for $4 thing that's special. And you're like, hey, I get 2 for less money and I'm going to eat both of them because I'm hungry and I'm sitting in traffic. And now I just had 1,000 calories. Just because there was a sign on a window at a place that had heavily marketed to you and caught your attention that morning. You see how that all works? And it was your choice that you chose to go along that whole pattern of behavior to get, the egg McMuffins, sausage egg McMuffins or something for 2 for $4. If they even are that cheap anymore, they're probably not. It's probably 2 for $6 or 2 for $7.
2 for $5.
2 for $5. There you go. Which still could be a good deal, but just know that like maybe I should have one at that time, and then I should have one like 3 to 4 hours later. There you go. That's how you get your 2 for $5 deal to work for you. Not eat them both at the same time. Spread the love out. But also, like if you're waiting to have the second one 3-4 hours later, is it even considered food? Like, I don't know what happens when that stuff cools off and sits for a while, right? So. Exactly. So you only buy one, even if the deal is for 2, you just buy one, because that's the better choice for you with your physical health and maintaining your calories or your health in that situation. See that? So you forego on the deal, you just get one, because that's a better choice for you in that moment. If you were to go through the drive-thru. Even though you're not saving money, I mean, technically you'd still be saving money because you'd be spending less. You just want to get more. But more isn't always a good thing.
Anthony, Stephanie, Willie, that's good. Y'all heard that, right? So that y'all got to get them, and then y'all got to settle that
if you want. Yeah, I got to know what you want.
Yeah, there you go.
That was coming.
Send it over. Speed.
No. Okay, see, so like me, I got a crazy eating habit. Okay,
yeah.
I might eat, I drink a bottle of water before I go to work. And at 7 o'clock, I might eat a bowl of cereal.
Okay.
Okay, and I won't eat again. Really, if I feel like eating, I eat a bag of chips probably by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. But then what I take for lunch is like a meal that you would eat, you know what I'm saying? And but in the evening time, that's what I take for like lunch. But I eat that like at 4 o'clock when I get off work, driving home.
Yeah.
You know, and then I turn around and if my wife decides to cook, or we might want some McDonald's or, you know, Firehouse or whatever. Okay, then I eat then. It's pretty about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I might eat me a bowl of ice cream or even some more cereal.
Yeah.
Okay, but I maintain my weight. I don't lose no weight. If I gain, I might gain a pound.
Right.
You know, I'm not keeping track of the calorie intake and everything. And can you tell me exactly what could that possibly be that I'm maintaining my weight with those bad eating habits? Because I know I don't eat healthy. Yeah. I don't. I'm telling you straight up. Yes. I don't eat healthy. And everything I done said is snack food, you know, and everything. And I love my candy. Yeah. So but I maintain my weight. I maintain energy throughout the day because I'm constantly on my feet, bending and reaching and everything.
Right.
And, you know, and like I say, even when I wind down at night, I don't usually go to bed and go to sleep till probably 12 o'clock, 12:30.
Okay.
You know, and then I'm right back up again at 5:25, like, you know, fully integrated.
Get to it. Yep.
So, you know, I know that's not healthy eating and everything, but could you
Not
give
the
me an
best.
idea on, you know what I'm saying, how I can better control that?
Right. So a couple things. One, we know he's highly active, right? He just said he's like up all day, he's moving, he's bending, so he's burning a lot of calories. Okay. He's in the first 2 meals that he has a bowl of cereal, and then you had, what was the lunch thing again? Chips. So chips. So in his first 2 meals, he has like maybe 400 or 500 calories, just off the top of my head. But he's been burning a lot of calories. But then he has his like lunchtime meal at like 4, and then he has like a dinner meal at like 6 or something, and then he has another like larger thing, and he goes into this like cycle of wanting to consume like calories and carbs and sugars because he didn't better distribute the calories throughout the day to slow down the hunger monster later in the day. So for one, like your calorie in and calorie out is generally equal. Okay? That's why you're not gaining or losing weight, because your activity. Eat the same way you do and don't move for the next 3 months, you're going to see that stuff piling on to your midline quickly because you're eating a lot of high calorie, high carbohydrate foods that are easy to eat, they taste great, and they're going to start adding up over time. So you don't have that yet right now, but if you were to stop moving, I almost certainly would think that would happen. So
yeah, I can't do that.
No, exactly. So we're going to go over meal design, but so like what we're saying is, like what I'm saying is like we're going to have a better bowl of cereal at breakfast. We're going to have lunchtime meal at lunch, not have a bag of chips because that's not an appropriate meal. That's not even enough calories to help manage this gentleman's activity level in a day. Right? You eat a bag of chips, 150 calories, they're gone like that, and they don't keep you full or anything. And then we have like an actual meal with your loved one because you're gonna like enjoy that time together and like prepare it and like be engaged in that effort, not just throw it up to McDonald's to prepare it for you. And then if you wanted ice cream, great. But we're just gonna have like 300 calories of ice cream for this gentleman because that's in a reasonable amount of calories to have as an ice cream treat or dessert that would fit into his day. And so we're going to better design the day and have better foods available and also just plan it, have it prepared so it's easy to act on it and you're not just eating on a whim and letting the first hours and hours of your day be relying on just having a bowl of cereal and a bag of chips. Like that's not a good food strategy. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and you might have good energy now, but imagine if you're like what we're getting into, if you're eating better balanced meals and having adequate protein sources and eating better macronutrient and micronutrient, micros being like vitamins and minerals, imagine how much more energy you'll have. Yeah, 5:20 in the morning, you're going to rocket ship out of the bed. You're like, let's go. Whoa, why is everyone sleeping here? It's because it's 5:20 in the morning. Most people don't get up then.
I'm like that now.
Well, I'm glad you are. But like, imagine what else could happen.
I'm scratching and I'm shooting.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad. That's excellent. All right. So that's just a really like what he said is very typical of what I experience most of the time with people. It's just they're ambling through the day unprepared, not thinking about the thing that keeps them alive is food, right? Don't eat for how many days and things don't go so well for you, right? No matter what, if you think like not eating or starvation isn't a real thing, or if I starve it, I'm not going to be able to lose weight. Yeah. We've seen it through history. If people stop getting fed, they definitely lose weight. It's a real thing. Stop feeding an animal, they're going to lose weight, right? Because we're a living combustible thing that needs calories to stay alive. So let's move on. What's it? Let's move on so that. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My name is Willie Williams.
Hi.
How you doing?
So
I'm listening
good.
very attentively to what you're saying.
Wonderful.
And I just want some input, maybe. I'm 80 years old. I'm 5'11" and a half, and I stay between 167 and 170 pounds.
Okay.
And I'm not a breakfast type guy, you know. I go to work. I might walk a couple of miles a day, you know, in my work, what I do.
Yeah.
And I feel that I burn a lot of calories because I'm very active, you know. Sometimes my wife and I, we may go to the gym and work out or whatever
Right.
the case may be, or ride the bicycle, you know, in the garage or things of this nature. You know, I try to stay active at my age. And but I eat a lot of candy too, you know, to keep the candy, you know, keep the hungry monster away sometime maybe. What kind of input can you give me, you know, because I've been maintaining this weight for over half a century,
time.
you know.
Yeah.
And I don't lose no weight, I don't gain no weight, you know. I don't have a pop belly or things like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just hopefully that I can stay this way, you know, maybe until whenever, you know.
Yeah.
So what information can you give me, you know, to suggestions?
For like what to eat, or how many calories you should be eating, or what?
Yeah, give me some suggestions on. Like I said, I'm not a breakfast person in the morning. At lunch, my wife usually she cooks some strawberries, some broccoli.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about building meals. Okay. Yeah, we're getting there. So I have some suggestions and different ways to structure meals coming up very quickly. So we'll pin you real quick, and hopefully the things that I just share will help you answer that question. Okay. So let's move on to portion control. How much should I eat? At the very end of the day, that's all it is food choice, what you pick, and portion control. So sure, we get candy. I eat candy too. But if my body weight is staying the same consistently over time, then I'm eating an appropriate amount of calories for my body. Whether it's candy or apples or vegetables. Okay? That's just how that is. Okay? So what do we look at? So we can certainly use like a hand, fist, or palm type thing. And this is generally speaking for average amounts of calories and such that we're looking for to do here is certainly, again, portions are determined on your size, your goals, how active you are, how many meals in a day, but these are generally what it looks like. So most women are going to have about 3 to 4 ounces of a protein. That's like a deck and a half of carbs, roughly. 2 to 4 cups of a fibrous carb, but we'll define what those are, but just shortcut, it's vegetables and fruit. And then 1/4 cup to half a cup of starch, like your potatoes and different things. Men are about 5 to 6 ounces of protein, 3 to 5 cups of a vegetable or fruit, and then we have about 1/4, like up to a cup of starch. Okay, so that's generally what a size. If we were to do it by like a palm or a fist size, because those always go with you, anywhere you go, a palm of protein, gentlemen about up to 2 palms. We have fibrous carbs like 2 to 3 fists, or gentlemen 3 to 4, and then a palm of starchy carbs, or a little bit more than that for gentlemen. All right, so those are just general things. Let me see. We've got the actual design of meal coming up here. So what we've talked about is that there's a certain amount of calories that operate your body. If you don't know, you could track them. So the last gentleman speaking, if he went and tracked his calories for the next week of time, he would get a good idea how many calories he eats on an average day. Some days he might eat more, but then some days he eats less. Or some days he moves more and eats less, and other days he moves less and eats normal. But that equals net neutral of same body weight week in and week out for him. Whereas someone else might just be eating more and not moving as much, and they're slowly gaining weight, and they put on 20 pounds in a certain amount of time. So we have a certain amount of calories you need to be eating. There's certain times of the day that you need to be eating. And then the portions to these meals are broken up into, say, 3 types of food. So how do we design the meal here? What goes on your plate? Well, this is my PDF, and it's what food should I eat? And certainly I can get this to Anthony for you all. And so if you want it, then I will get it for him. So ask him for it. But this is the simplest, easy way, and it's here in the sheet, in the slide deck here, which you have access to as well. So this is generally what most of the meals that you want to eat are going to be. A lean protein and a fibrous carb, or a fruit and vegetable for when you are less active. So example, hey, I have an office job and I don't move a lot. I don't necessarily need a bowl of oatmeal or cereal at breakfast. I could have an egg omelet in a sense. Protein and vegetables. That would fill me up, but keep my calories and carbs in check because I don't need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are for energy, and I just don't need them. Whereas if I'm more active, I'm going to get up on a Saturday, and I'm going to be active. I'm going to go work out or walk or do fun things. Then I'm going to add a starch. So the premise of what this says is that we have starchy carbs around our activity, and we have less starchy carbs when we're not so active. And if we do a good job of planning our starch in the day, it becomes a lot more intuitive and easy to manage not only your fullness, but your food choices and even cravings. Cravings will subside quite a bit. Now, the 2 questions I always want you to think, this is from thousands of conversations. These 2 questions: where's the protein? Where's the fiber? We'll define that in a moment. These are the questions you want to think about in your head when it comes to building balanced meals. Where's the protein? Where's the fiber? Now, this is a sample plate and what we were getting to. So when we look at those palm sizes or whatever, we're looking for roughly a similar size of protein and starchy carbs and double or triple the amount of vegetables on the other side of the plate. This creates a very balanced meal. It's going to give you lots of vitamins, lots of minerals, enough calories, and plenty of energy. Your blood sugar level is going to be better balanced. You're going to be having more fiber that slows down digestion in a good way. So you stay full longer. You balance out blood sugar levels because you're not just eating a bunch of candy and your blood sugars go way up, which then causes more desire for wanting more food. Okay? So how do we define building a plate? In these categories, I'm going to teach you here. We have lean proteins, fibrous carbs, starchy carbs, and fruit. So what this means is lean protein is about 3 to 5 times more protein to fat. So if you look at a nutrition label and something has 20 grams of protein and like 5 grams of fat, that's a really good lean protein source. If something has 20 grams of protein and 20 grams of fat, that is a fat source. Remember, 20 times 9 fat calories is 180 calories, whereas 20 times 4 is 80 calories of protein. 180 calories of fat, 80 calories of protein, that's a fat source. That is not a protein source. Now, fibrous carbs, I like to label them as this. This is like fruits and vegetables, mainly vegetables. They're roughly about 50 calories or less per cup. Starch is about 125 calories or more per cup, and fruit kind of falls in between. So let's go through the process of picking a protein. So we want lean, low-fat proteins. And on your screen, write down 4 of them right now. Scribble them down real quick. Any of them do. We're looking for low-fat, high-protein sources, and all of these fit that bill. Some of them might have a little bit more fat than others, but these are all generally high-protein sources. There's lots of them. So like birds, beef, or like land animals, fish, seafood. You have dairy products. There's soy products that can have protein in them if you're plant-based. So hopefully you've written down 4. Okay, write down 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fibrous carbs. Fibrous carbs are 50 calories or less. So when you look at a nutrition label, we're trying to find out like how much is in 1 cup serving roughly. Is this an easy way to understand that. Fruit falls in between that and the starchy carb. So next up is write down 4 of these. Or even write down the ones that will work with you, with each of these protein sources. So maybe like you'd go salmon with broccoli or asparagus or romaine or zucchini. Or you have yogurt with apples or watermelon or raspberries or grapefruit. Or you have a lean beef like 90, 93, 96% with some tomato, cucumber, Brussels sprouts, onions. No matter the size or shape, doesn't matter. This is just a comprehensive list of foods that fall into this. So all these have generally about 50 calories, or the fruit have a little bit more, as I said. So hopefully you got down a bunch of these. Now the cool part is, as we keep going, the secret is it doesn't matter which one you pick. As long as you're picking a protein, a fibrous carb, or starchy carb out. So let's go to picking starches. So what are some starchy carbs that are about 125 calories or more when you look at a cup of it? Like a cup of cooked oatmeal is 150 calories. A cup of beans is 220. A cup of potatoes is about 120 or so. A cup of rice is about 180. They're all starchy carbs. They have a lot of calories and carbohydrates in them. Some have a little bit more protein in them, like lentils or beans or soy product, whereas rice has no protein in it and no fiber at all. Okay? Now, so we want to go back through these, and here's the magic. So when you have access to this, you print this page out, the protein sources, and you pick out one from this. You pick out the fibrous carb, you pick 1 or 2 of these to go with that protein source. And then you pick out 1 of these and you put them in those portions that we talked about earlier in the slide deck to fit into this category. So women are about 3 to 4 ounces of a protein source, 2 to 3 cups of a fibrous carb, and about a half a cup of a starch. Whereas like men have like 5 or 6 ounces of a protein. Then we have the about 3-ish, 4-ish cups of a fibrous carb, and the starch are going to be like the starch are going to be like a cup roughly. And so that's how you build the meals. Now, we always want to limit fat because they are calorie dense, and a tablespoon of oil is 120 calories. A quarter cup of mixed nuts is 100 calories. A slice of cheese is 100 calories.
It's almost over, so I'm not going to be on
They
that.
add lots and lots of calories real quick. So we do have to be conscious of this as we go here, okay? So, let's keep moving on here because so we print these pages off when you get access to it. This is John. I double dog dared him to do this. I told him to do it on the first day. He didn't do it for 10 weeks, and I made sure he did it, and this is the fun picture that he did. But the process is very simple. You pick a protein, you pick a vegetable or a piece of fruit, you pick a starchy carb, you put them in appropriate portions, and that's your meal. Flavor and season them appropriately so they taste good, and then we're off to the races. You'll have a very balanced meal that's exciting, that's filling, that you look forward to, and then that's how you build meals. So, here's some sample ones. I'm not going to list these up, but these are sample ones that you could build around how to make a better meal for you. Okay? Now, someone's like, I don't have time in the middle of the day to cook fish. Well, I would agree. You should cook fish when you do have time in the day or the week and have it available for you to eat at a certain time of the day. Having a sandwich makes for a very easy lunch. You have 2 low-calorie slices of bread. You have about 4 or 5, 6 ounces of a protein source like deli meat. You have an apple, and you have like 2, 3 cups of carrots. That's a very balanced meal that's going to fill you up and be a really easy lunch to take with you and eat in a relatively quick amount of time. They'll take you like 5 minutes. And then onward you go. But you have plenty of protein, enough carbs, a little bit of fat, and you're going to have energy, and it's going to sit well. but you've eaten just enough food to get you until you get home for dinner, or until it's like that 4 o'clock time frame. So these are here. Again, you'll have access to it with the slide deck. Here's some snacks. Again, I try to teach people to differentiate that a meal and a snack are the same difference. A breakfast and a snack is the same difference. Anytime that you put food in your mouth, it's easy to just call it a meal. And how we build meals is picking a protein, picking where's the protein, where's the fiber, and we go through this process of picking healthy, good meals that are going to fill you up and make it easy. So I've given you lots of examples between the two here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different examples roughly for men and women, each in appropriate portions. So you'll again have access to that. So any questions on the meal design process?
So to call it a meal, then you've got to ask, like, I have to ask, where's the protein, where's the fiber?
That's a good way to start the conversation in your brain about putting good choices on your plate to go in your mouth.
Okay. And so I'm thinking, half of the meal is like veggies, a quarter is protein, and the other quarter is
starchy carb.
Starchy carb. Okay, thank you.
Yep. And if you're more active, those portions will be bigger. If you're less active, they will be smaller. If you're not moving at all, you might want to do a quarter of the plate protein and 3/4 of the plate vegetable, because you don't need energy. You don't need carbs. You don't need a sandwich that's got a giant amount of bread if you're going to be sitting all day. You don't need that energy. You need a lot of vegetables.
I forgot you said that before, and I didn't write it down. Okay, I'm going to write it down.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, because there are times when I'm not that active.
It's just a good intuition on how to build a better meal. That's all.
Yeah.
For me, I always know that carbs are coming at night with a family of 4 kids, a family of 6, 4 kids that are hungry and active. We're always going to have lots of carbs. Pastas, beans, rice, potatoes, quinoa, bread, whatever. Those are always going to be available. So I know in my brain that carbs are coming there, so I will eat around it. I'll have a lot more vegetables and some fruit earlier in the day to allow for carbs to come at dinner time. And then it's no big deal. So I plan for it. Now, so that's the simplicity. We pick a protein, a fibrous carb, a starchy carb, put them on the plate in those appropriate portions. Here's the harder part. Preparing the food and having it available and going to the grocery store and all this stuff. So there's a lot of different things here. PPA, plan, prepare, act. Schedule your grocery shopping appropriately in the week. If you need to go once, twice a week, whatever, make sure you have time available to do so. You want to buy in bulk when it makes sense to. We don't want to buy bulk fresh food. That is a horrible idea, because you probably don't know how to cook it and prepare it in a way that it will last and you'll use it. You'll likely just throw it away. Buying food in this order of importance of fresh is better than frozen, is better than canned, is better than none at all. I'd much rather you have canned green beans on your plate than not having any green beans at all. Because green beans, a whole can is only 70 calories. And it's very nutritious, has lots of fiber, and easy to rinse off a lot of the sodium. And that makes a lot of sense if it's conveniently done for you that way. Another one is preparing raw meat when it comes into the house. Don't just put it in the freezer, because then you're like, oh, I forgot to pull out chicken from the freezer and it's frozen at dinner time, and that's an hour processing time to get the stuff unfrozen to cooked and eaten. That's like an hour long, and you're not going to do that. So if you cook the food when it comes in, throw everything on the grill, put some in the fridge or the freezer. It's just about having some level of bulk preparation to work. And you could individually store things in portion sizes. So 3 to 4 ounces of a protein, or 5 to 6 ounces for men, of like protein sizes, put them in the freezer already cooked, and voila, you have food quickly, easy, and ready to go. Buying high quality containers to have available works and makes a lot of sense. You can put stuff in the appropriate container to take it with you. And then what you pack, you want to eat. You don't want to just be swayed by someone going to do DoorDash or pick up whatever. Remember, power of choice. You pick good decisions based on what's important to you, not because some random person wanted to eat somewhere at lunchtime today and they over-influenced you to do what they did. Like that's not a good way to like live life. Don't jump off the bridge because everyone else is. That's the same situation. Hey, I'm going to here to get food. Who wants some? Same difference of like, hey, I'm going to go jump off the bridge. Who's joining me? Same thing. Different situation. As a silly analogy. You want your food to taste good. Variety of spices, herbs, okay? Low calorie sauces and dressings. Use different equipment. Air fryer, an Instant Pot, the oven, the grill to cook food in a way that makes sense. Now, cooking food doesn't mean that you have to like put oil in a pan. You can water saute or cooking spray. If someone's watching their calories, it's important that you're not pouring like 200 calories of oil into that frying pan just to get the food to not stick. So there's ways to go about preparing the food in a way that doesn't add calories to the meal. Because if you're trying to be conscious of your calories, you don't want to have to manage however many calories might be coming from the oil that you cooked it in. All right. So those are some preparation ways to manage this. We have nutrition hacks. Most importantly, we got to look at the portion size. In this, the portion size on this example is 2/3 cup. There are 8 servings. So 8 servings at 2/3 cup at 230 calories. So off the top of my head, that's like 1,800 calories are inside this container. Now we look at the ingredients. There's aren't ingredients on this label, but the top 3 ingredients are the ones that are most in that product. So it goes from the most to the least. So if something says sugar in the top 3 ingredients, it's sugar-based food with other things in it. As far as like sugar goes, I'm always like to have a good rule of thumb. We want sugar to be 50% or less of the total carbohydrates. So in this product here, there's 37 carbs with 12 sugar. That's reasonable. But also you have to account for that they added 10 grams, and that's what that means. They added 10 grams of sugar to make a total of 12. So all the sugar that's in this product is primarily added sugar that they added to it so it would taste better. Whereas if added sugar said 0, then it would have had just 12 natural grams of sugar. And that's different. There's lots of sugars out there. The fat to protein ratio is just something I made up to help understand what a lean, low-fat protein source. Now, this food product is a carbohydrate that has fats in it and a very little bit of protein. And I see that because there's 37 grams of carbs. There's only 8 grams of fat, but 8 times 9 is 72 calories. 37 times 4 is 130 some calories. And then there's only 12 calories of protein in that. 3 times 4 is 12. So there's barely any protein in this thing. So this isn't a protein source, but if you're looking at protein sources, we want a lot of protein. So I always preface this, like eat as much food as you can for the meals that you can eat. It's about volume, people. It's about eating as much volume of food, but not calories. We want to manage calories, but we want to eat a lot of food. So you stay full, you stay satiated, you give your body and your digestion and lots of opportunity for micronutrients and beyond. Now wrapping up here, we have cheat meals. I don't like the word cheat. This usually has negative connotations in the English language. So we're not trying to like cheat on our diet or something. We're just trying to fit in something. If you want ice cream, have an appropriate amount of ice cream when you eat it. Get the high quality stuff. Or there's so many other ways to have a mock ice cream that has lots of protein, doesn't have a lot of calories, that are on the market, or you can make to fulfill on the desire to have ice cream without getting a Ben & Jerry's 1,200 calorie or more pint of ice cream. So cheat meals, and about cheat meals, it's about fitting the stuff in and making it happen. If you want a McDonald's Egg McMuffin, you can literally make those be super high protein by having egg whites or egg white with a little yolk and have some Canadian bacon and just having like a little bit of the, like half of a bun or something of the English muffin. You could really go to town there. I'm going to wrap up here because we are talking long. I told you I like to talk. Women for water, about 80 ounces or more. Men, 100 ounces or more. I love making sure that we include this. Low to no calorie beverages could count. Coffee, teas, and stuff, as long as you're not swimming in calories. I always say this. Water to the body is like oil to a car. It's really important that you are staying hydrated because your body always needs more water the next day. It is an open system that goes in. What goes in comes out. So you always have to do that. Now, as far as movement goes, I'm a big fan of 10K a day. I like people to be overly active that way. I like people to, and that could be just walking, literally just walking, parking farther away, taking the stairs. Muscle building activities, that's going to the gym and trying to do something to build some muscle. Your older self will thank you that you're as strong as you can be now in this current present of time. Exercise doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to go into the gym and be sore for days. That's silly, actually. That's not a good idea because then you're discouraged to go to the gym. So we want to do a concept called progressive overload. Just doing a little bit more than you did the last time you were there. So that you go to the gym, you feel good about the activity you're doing, and you have a positive connection that you want to do more of. So the simple question of, can I work out tomorrow, makes it relevant to stay in bounds with where you are today. So as we bring it all together into the home stretch, wrapping it up, here's a number of things that really make this easy. Drink plenty of water. Eat the right amount of calories for the right movement that you're doing. Practice balance, moderation, flexibility. You can eat candy, but we're just not only eating candy for dinner. Okay, that's not a good idea for your body, for your teeth, for just like the people around you. They don't want you to be hangry or like sugar buzzed. So PPA, plan, prepare, act. Do a better job of just pausing and taking a moment to think about what is important to you. What do I even want to eat today? Learn what's in the food you eat normally. We want you moving enough in the day. Don't just sit all day. Like that's not what humans are meant to do. They're meant to live and move. Don't go too long without eating. You will make a bad choice. It's inherent. It's what humans do, unfortunately. It's just common human behavior. Create go-to meals. Go back into those 9 meals for men and women. Make those into such an easy way that it's so much more convenient for you to eat at home. That saves time, saves money, saves energy, and gives you energy, not going to, fast food or something. So you have these go-to meals. Like I have so many that I can just go right now if I wanted to eat, and most of them could be done and ready in 5 minutes because there's been some preparation, some forethought. And of course, practice portion control. No matter what food is in front of you, you always can practice how much food goes in your mouth. So as we go into the holiday season, we want to make sure that you're not overeating, regardless of what's available. So that's it. And I hope that you've enjoyed this today. And we're right before 8 p.m. I like to talk, so hopefully I held on to you guys. So any questions as we wrap up today?
Hey, Willie, did you get your answers from Brian? Hey, hi, Willie, are you there? Just wanted to check to see if he got what he needed.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, hopefully, yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to getting the PowerPoint from you, Anthony, from Brian. Yep.
So Anthony, you have it. And I sent it to you and Jessica in our email like last week. So
yeah, I'm happy to send it out. And Anthony, I know that there's some possible support for folks who want to discuss more or want something more tailored. If you want to delve into that a little bit.